So the last question that we had was who, right? Who is responsible for instilling safety culture in an academic laboratory or in an industry setting? What I want to talk about first is this definition of a leader. All right. So a leader, by definition, is someone who instills the need for responsibility. So in a laboratory, you want a leader to play an active role, right? This person is going to go around and basically tell you why safety culture is very important. They want you to understand why you should wear your goggles. They want you to understand why you should wear gloves for this experiment. That is what the definition of a leader is going to be. Now, that is not the same as a manager. All right. A manager does not instill the need for responsibility. A manager ensures that people meet various goals and outcomes. So the leader is going to go around and they're going to say, this is why you need to wear your safety goggles. This is why you need to wear safety gloves. This is how you become an active member in our safety culture in our lab. The manager will sit back and the manager will ensure that that is taking place. It makes sure that people are wearing their goggles or are wearing their gloves. The manager looks at goals of the laboratory, though, as far as production and testing and the number of tests that they are supposed to do every day, and to make sure that those are getting met throughout the day and throughout the week and throughout the year. So we have leaders and we have managers. And you need to be a leader in the laboratory. You do not need to be a manager in the laboratory. So you as an employee or you as a student can easily become a leader by just instilling the need for responsibility, not only in yourself, but in other people as well. So if you see someone else beside of you that's not wearing your safety goggles, remind them, hey, you know you're supposed to wear your safety goggles. Or if you're not seeing them wear gloves, just look to the person beside of them and give them a pair of gloves and say, here you go, you want to put these on because he said or she said that this stuff was pretty bad. Now, I want you to keep in mind that not every single time we do a lab, it's going to be disastrous, right? So, for instance, there's a lab that we use M&Ms and Skittles with. So why do we need to put goggles on when we work with M&Ms and Skittles? Well, the chances are we might tell you not to wear goggles in the laboratory. And I know that seems like a misnomer or something that we shouldn't do, but we just feel that if the laboratory's clean and there's nothing else that's going on in the lab and it's just you and M&Ms and some Skittles and a balance, then that's all that we basically need, right? You're not going to wear goggles when you eat Skittles and M&Ms at home, so why would you wear goggles in the lab when you're working with them? But if there's other things that are going on in the lab, some reagents are out or some chemicals are out from another course from another year, then these are things that we want to kind of keep in mind because those could get contaminated and those could cause a problem for you. And then we would tell you to wear protective equipment when that begins to happen. So you need to be a leader. You do not need to be a manager. Always look for safety about you and always look for safety on your neighbors as well, right? Put other people into your situation and make sure that you're looking out for them, not just yourself. Second, we want to communicate in the laboratory. Don't be a loner in the lab, right? Don't be working off in the corner by yourself and not talking to anyone. You want to communicate effectively in the lab, so make sure it's one big happy family, right? So make sure that you talk to your neighbors, make sure that you talk to the people that are your coworkers or that are your co-students, right? So when we're in the laboratory, it's okay to talk to each other. It's okay to have a conversation, not just about daily normal stuff like you would on the phone or in an email or in a text message, but also communicate safety. right? Hey, I see that you're using flame over there, so you should tie back your lawn care. Or I see that you're working with that chemical that he said was a mutagen, so you should be wearing gloves. Let me get you a pair. That's communicating effectively in the lab. Don't be overburdened because people don't like for you to act like their mama or their daddy, right? But at the same time, you can come across in a way where you're looking out for their best interest. Next, always strive to learn. Going into this, you're going to be brand new in the laboratory, right? Maybe. At least in our laboratory, you will be. And you want to strive to learn, meaning that everything is brand new. Come in with an open mind. And when we tell you to do something, do it. And learn why we're doing it that way. Okay? None of us quit learning throughout our entire lifetime. So whether you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, we're always learning new things. And you should never block that out. Never come with the attitude that you already know everything there is to know in a lab and you've never stepped foot in a lab before, right? You're going to quickly realize that kind of attitude does not go over well with us because that's a part of you taking the class, right? Part of you taking this course is to understand, and future courses is to understand how to operate and how to behave and how to do lab work. And you're coming to us with no clue of what you're doing. And it's up to us to kind of teach you some of those basics. So strive to learn, come in with an open mind, don't have the attitude that you already know everything, because those are the people that have the incidents first, right? And then finally, understand why. If we tell you to wear goggles, know why we're telling you to do it. If we're telling you to wear gloves, know why we're telling you to wear them. All of this basically boils down to understanding the experiment, right? Understand what you're doing before you come into the lab, and that way when we tell you to do something, when you get to the lab, you'll know why we're telling you to do what we're doing. So just don't take it for granted. If you don't really understand why we're telling you to do something, then ask us. We're not going to get angry. That's part of the game. That's part of the learning curve, right? So if we tell you you've got to wear a lab apron today, and you don't really know why you need to wear a lab apron, then come to us. And then we'll probably say, well, you're going to work with a chemical that's known to be very explosive as far as splattering, right? Not going boom with flames, but it splatters quite a bit. So we want you to protect your clothes. And if you don't want to wear the apron, you don't have to wear the apron, but understand that if you don't wear the apron, this could splatter all over your new blouse or your new shirt or your new shorts or your new pants, and they're going to be ruined. So once people understand why we tell them to do certain things, then they feel a little bit better about going the extra step and wearing that apron or those gloves or those goggles or anything else that we tell you to do. So bottom line, be a leader, don't be a manager, and understand what you're doing in a lab. Now, with that said, I'm going to clear this off for a second. With that said, we have an issue here, and that's people. People are the issue. They're the problem. And that's because we often say that safety conflicts with human nature. Well, what's human nature? Well, not Madonna. Human nature really likes convenient. It's not convenient for me to wear goggles. It's not convenient for me to wear gloves. It's not convenient for me to wear an apron when I'm told to. And I don't like anything that's not convenient. Think about your phone, right? Your phone is very convenient. We didn't have phones back in the 80s, early 90s. Not like you do today. Everything is so convenient now. If you want to learn how to get somewhere, bring out your phone. If you want to take a picture, bring out your phone. If you want to send a message instantly to someone, bring out your phone. That's convenience. We love it. Well, not everything's convenient, people. And you just got to get over it. And that's one of the things that we see in the lab. Next, human nature wants comfort. You want to be comfortable, right? You want to be slouchy on the couch. You don't want to sit straight up prim and proper on a couch all day long. That's comfort. We want to be comfortable in the lab as well. And human nature wants it convenient in the lab and expedient. That means fast. So we want it fast, we want it comfortable, and we want it convenient. Well, we're not the only people that like that type of thing, right? However, you have to fight against human nature. You have to understand that not everything in the lab is going to work fast. You need patience. You have to have patience to be a good lab employee. You also have to understand that not everything's going to be comfortable for you. There's going to be times where you might, depending on your employer, have to dress up into a hazmat suit from head to toe. And you have to do lab that way. That's not comfortable. Being doused from head to toe in basically a big, huge blanket with a face shield, no one wants to work that way. And then convenience. It might not be convenient for you that day. Meaning you might have to take a little bit of extra work, a little bit of extra time to set up the proper glassware in order to do the lab. Or you have to take some extra time out of your schedule to make the reagents that you need because they were not prepared for you. That's convenience, people. And you're never going to get convenient, comfort, or expediency in every single lab, every single time. So what we're saying is that safety can be discomfort. You have to be okay with that. You have to understand it going into it. Safety can be inconvenient. And safety can lead to inefficient, as far as time is concerned. Now, I want you to keep in mind that out of these three, companies do not like this one. And the reason is because time is money. So if they're finding a scenario that's taking forever to complete, and they can try to make that better or improve that process or system, then they're going to. So they're going to look at all of these, and they're going to look at the time one first because they want to produce these results and complete testing as soon as possible. And when they do that, they're going to save money. So they're going to say, listen, you're just going to have to be not comfortable for a while, and you're going to have to be inconvenienced for a while because we're going to speed this process up a little bit faster. All right, so something else that I can say, most people, they view failures as caused by external factors. So when something happens in the lab, they say, well, this is why this didn't work. This is why this caught fire. This is why this burnt. This is why this basically splattered out of my beaker. No. Sometimes it is due to external factors. However, they never want to take responsibility. Who made the decision to do it? And why did you do it? Was it your responsibility to make sure that this should have led into a different outcome? Were you responsible that you went the convenient route? Were you responsible that you went the most comfortable route? Or were you responsible that you chose the fastest way to get something done? Because if you did, then the fault is you. The fault is nothing else. The fault is no other external factor but yourself. And you have to understand that in a laboratory environment. All right? Okay, so finally, what I need to say and what I want you to take home is that safety is not natural. I know that sounds kind of weird, but think about what I just covered. I talked about human nature just now, right? And I said human nature, basically, these are the three things that we love: comfort, convenience, and expediency. Well, if that's human nature, then that means that safety does not come natural. That also means that it needs to be reinforced. So it's okay if you forget to put on your goggles in the lab, or you forget to wear flip-flops in the lab, or not to wear flip-flops in the lab. We're just going to reinforce that. Okay? We're not going to get mad. We're not going to get angry. We're just going to say, hey, goggles. Or, hey, we know that you wear flip-flops today. We're not going to kick you out of the lab. But listen, the next time you come in, just make sure you wear some closed-toed shoes. We want to make sure that your feet stay pretty and clean like they are right now. Hopefully. So we constantly reinforce it. We're not going to get angry. We're not going to scream. Veins are not going to pop out of our head. We're not going to spit in your face. But we're just going to give you some reminders every single time that we're in the lab to make sure that this is okay. Not only that, but people need to learn about the hazards. The more you learn about hazards that are around you, the more prone you are to doing what you're supposed to do in a lab and promote safety in a lab. So don't be ignorant to what's around you. Make sure that you fully understand what's going on. And then next, we want to make sure that you know how to manage the hazards. So once you identify the hazards, how do you handle them to make sure they're not going to cause a problem? And we now know that we need good people skills. Look out for everyone else. Be an effective communicator. Listen. You probably have an employer or a coworker that's been there longer, or maybe an instructor, and you need to listen to their advice and do what they say. You need to communicate. If you find a problem, or if someone's doing something that's not proper, you need to let them know or let a supervisor know. And you need to use good judgment, right? This is a natural instinct that many of us have. And if we feel that something's not right, it probably isn't right. So you want to use good judgment in the laboratory. So build your attitude up. That's what we're talking about here. Your attitude has to improve to safety. And these are the ways that we improve our attitude with safety. So what I want to leave you with is a positive attitude leads to positive outcomes. Don't be a Debbie Downer. If you're a Debbie Downer, then life is going to be a Debbie Downer too, right? Don't be mean and hateful and snarly when you come into the lab, because if you are, other people are going to be mean, hateful, and snarly to you as well. But if you come into the laboratory with a positive attitude, especially concerning safety, yes, I'm going to follow the rules, I'm going to follow the instructions, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, then everything will work out okay with you. And you probably will not have an incident the entire time that you're in our lab. So keep that in mind. What you give out is what you get back in return most of the time. And I think that if you come in with that type of mentality, you'll be perfectly fine and you'll enjoy your time while you're in our lab. So that's promoting safety culture.